I should be live. Let's check. Elevator music for your waiting pleasure. Hello, hello, Rachel. Okay, that's great. All right. First Translateathon live sprint since ever. I haven't done this before for a readathon, and this is hopefully going to be great. First things first, what is everyone planning on reading during these sprints? I have a couple books that I am going to be working on. First of all, I did start on Daughter from the Dark by Marina and Sergei Dyachenko, translated by Julia Maid of Hersey. And I am on page, what page am I on? I am on page 40. And the start of this book was really interesting. It is so different from Vita Nostra. This is like its very own thing. It's a standalone, but the vibe is certainly very similar in that it's kind of dark and moody, and the people this book is centered on and the main characters, they are not good people, which seems to be a theme in the Dyachenko's books, is that everyone is a bit of an asshole, but I kind of like it. And then if I get kind of too bogged down by Daughter from the Dark because the text is kind of dense, then I have The Promised Neverland, volume 16, that I can switch to. And I also have The Night Watch by Sergei Lukyanenko. And these are the three that I am trying to make headway in today. Because, you know, sometimes, like, even if I end up only reading the one thing, I think it's good to have a bit of a mix so that if you start to feel kind of overwhelmed by one thing, you can switch into another. I am actually really interested in Witch Hat Atelier. I still have not read any of the volumes. I know that my library has it, but I haven't yet gotten to it. But I love the artwork in that series. Like, based on the covers, I want to, like, I really want to get to that as well. Ooh, Frankenstein in Baghdad. That is like, oh, you only have 120 pages left. The ending of that book, I have to say, is kind of like, it's like the ending is a lot. So you are gonna have a good time with that, I think, because there's so much that is going to happen in the last stretch of that book. But before we get started, I want to talk a little bit about beverages. I am currently drinking hot chocolate because it's kind of a cold day over here, but I also have some water. So please be sure to have something to drink and stay hydrated. Staying hydrated is really important. And I think, with that said, we have been live almost 5 minutes. So I think we should start our first sprint. And what do you say? Should we go for 15 minutes? Kind of like first dip into the reading time? Let's see. There we go. And share screen. And yeah. And here we go. Let's start. 15 minutes. All right, we are finished with the first sprint. How far did everyone get? I managed 7 pages. So it's a bit slow going. Also, the translation is a little bit interesting, considering that the Russian from which this book is translated has like basically Russian has multiple like words have multiple genders, like they can be masculine, feminine, or neuter. So it's interesting how the translator is navigating that when things like word usage and wordplay come into play. So that's really interesting. Do you have any interesting things about your reads? How are you enjoying the translation so far? Well, Rachel is fast, but I mean, 70 pages is a lot, even if it is a manga, because I don't know. I always take a long time reading comics. Maybe it's just because I start ogling the page, so it takes a time. But that's a good stretch. 13 pages. That's nice. Yeah, it seems to be a pretty like decent pace. Okay. I have to say that it is a little bit disgusting when you have hot chocolate and the milk sort of forms this crust on top, and then you have to fish it out. That's sort of like, ugh. Not like that. Let's take a sip. Yes, that is delicious. Also, an interesting thing happened in this book during the 7 pages that I managed to read. We are experiencing some gruesome mysteries. So that is really interesting to read about. So I'm definitely going to continue on during the next sprint as well. Yeah, it's gross. You don't want to eat it. Like, ugh, I just always scoop it up with the spoon and put it in the trash because, like, ugh, it's not part of my fantasy. Yeah, Frankenstein in Baghdad is interesting. Like, I feel like Frankenstein in Baghdad, having read it, it's interesting, and you can certainly read it without having without having the context for like the political things that have been happening after the US Iraq war. But you can definitely see in the book that it's kind of like, if you are someone who for example, has lived in Baghdad or is an Iraqi, you will probably get so much more out of the book. So, like, for example, when I was reading I kind of went and read a bunch of news articles and like people writing, like local journalists writing about their experiences in Baghdad during the war. So that gave me a little bit more context. But like, because it is a satire, it really leans into that knowledge of the context of what is going on there, and it pokes fun at the politicians and various other forces at play. So yeah, but it's pretty interesting because it's speculative, and it's literary and it's satire. It's a very genre bending book. I like both cold chocolate, hot chocolate, everything goes. But yeah, because of the whole skin forming thing, I generally only drink hot chocolate if someone makes it for me, because I'm like, I can't be bothered. Okay, I'm thinking that in 3 minutes we should start a 20-minute sprint and sprint until 10 to 8. So let's make it a little bit of a longer sprint. And also, if you have paper or a phone or anything, write down the number of pages you imagine you will be able to read in that 20-minute time span. You don't have to tell it yet, but then we can compare notes when we have finished the sprint. Okay, I have written down my number. And I'm thinking I will continue on with this one. And we can soon start the sprint. I hope everyone is enjoying what they are reading. The Shapeshifters by Stefan Spjut. I have not heard of that. So I will Google it. Let's see. The Shapeshifters. So it's a thriller book. That's interesting. I don't usually read a lot of thrillers myself. And the only ones I have read are usually ended up being very disappointing. Okay, let's go for 20 minutes. Okay, let's go. And we are done for the sprint. Hey Daniela, great of you to join. Oh, that's annoying when that happens, when you're in the flow of doing something and then you have to pick up the phone or go answer the door or something. That's like, oof. It's hard to get back. I mean, you can do whatever you want during these reading sprints. Like if you want to just hang out and that's fine. So what did everyone put in as prediction? I put 16 pages and I managed 10. And I was a bit optimistic because, I feel like because the like writing is so dense and so like wordy that it makes it harder to read as much. That's good. That's really good progress. And also like goes to show that you know your own pace very well. I mean, I'm proud of all of you for reading so much. I'm slow, but that's okay. That's okay. It's all about the journey, and it doesn't matter how long it gets to get there. 14 pages is good, and don't worry, you don't always have to predict. It's just like fun, like going from like expectation to reality. What is everyone planning on doing after the sprints? I'm gonna host. It's currently like 7 minutes to 8 p.m. I'm going to host until 9 p.m. And after that, there will be a meteor/shooting star shower in Animal Crossing. So I will be playing a bit of Animal Crossing today still. Hey, no worries. Everything's good. There's like join at your own leisure, your own pace. I'm not sure I was the one who coined that, but Let's see. I personally like it when reading sprints are more about the sprinting and less about the chatting. So I think when we go to the full hour mark, so 8 p.m. my time, we will go for the next sprint. Yes. Go walk that dog and please take pictures because Ava is so cute. Ava is such a cute little dog. That is admirable. Exercise is admirable, like especially during these times when we're all inside. Like maybe it's just me. I hate exercise, so like it must be done, but at the same time, it's like I don't particularly enjoy it myself. That's why I exercise by playing Ring Fit on the Nintendo, because I need to trick my brain into exercising, because I don't like it. Also, as you are reading, what seems to be the what seems to be the most emerging theme in the book you are currently reading? Mine is definitely like music. Music is a very key thing, and this sort of like music as a kind of life force seems to be a very key theme in this book, as far as I can tell. I am now on page 59, so that is kind of like the emerging theme in my current read. Ooh, I mean, Trolls and Lapland, that could also mean contemporary, but like in like different like there's like this weird thing, especially in Nordic noir, where sort of like this mystical presence is often code for something sinister in like a contemporary setting. Like there can be things like code names and such that use like this old mythology kind of flavor, but then like it's kind of like the Nordic noir sells itself as this sort of like preternatural type of stuff. Like there always seems to be a little bit of a fantastical pull, but then when you read it, it's not actually fantastical at all. I've had this happen in so many Nordic noir. Eva, do you mean that the book hasn't aged well, or have you grown as a reader to be a kind of person that doesn't enjoy it as much, or what do you mean? I really want to read it. Like just from the covers, Witch Hat Atelier looks to be something that is just absolute cosplay bait. Like looking at it, I just want to make every single outfit. And I've also heard that it's like it has a pretty big variety of character designs, like body types and stuff. From what I've heard from people who have read it and liked it, is that there are many different kinds of characters, and everyone looks different and unique and not the same. Sometimes there is this like same face syndrome in some manga. Are they the sort of murder mystery stories, like, for example, like Miss Marple and Hercule Poirot? Because I really enjoy those as well. Yes. I love a good cosplay bait. Okay, it is 8. time for another prediction. This time, let's go for 15 minutes. Wrote my prediction down. And then let's go. Reading in progress. All right. We are done with our sprint. How did everyone do? I predicted 10 pages and I managed 9, which is better than the last prediction. So that's good. And this book is getting weirder and weirder by the minute. And I'm sort of liking it. Yeah, that's in like reading backlist is always, in my opinion, a sort of a double-edged sword, because it's kind of like opening a time capsule. And like I feel like in that sense, books that are like very, very old are kind of better in a sense that, like, how should I explain it? Like, if something was written in the 60s and it kind of mirrors the values and ideas of the 60s, I am much more able personally to give it a pass if it's like not gelling with me. But something that was written like only like 5 or 7 years ago, which is still a pretty long time ago if you think about it, but like because you yourself are also living in that time, it's different in a sense. But it's interesting. Like I always think it's interesting to think about how differently we view books and why. That's good. Applause, applause. I'm thinking that I might want to maybe read some manga next, because here's the thing, I am enjoying this book, but at the same time the main character is a complete and utter douchebag who keeps doing despicable things all of the time. So I think I need to get away from him, like from his head, and read something less awful in a sense. So maybe I will do that next. I have not started Children of Time yet. Like, my March TBR video was basically covering all of the books that I'm reading for March, and Children of Time was picked by the book board. So it is not necessarily, it is not in my Translateathon TBR. It is just on my March TBR. So I'm actually going to start it after Translateathon ends, and I'm now focusing on the books that are actually translated. Children of Time is written and published in English, and I am reading it in English, so it doesn't qualify for translated fiction. If it was translated into Finnish and I read it in Finnish, then it would count. But yeah, I will read it this month, just not in the first 2 weeks. So help me decide. Should I read the first chapter of Nightwatch, or should I read some manga for the next sprint? I'm having a little bit of a hard time deciding which of these I should go for. Basically, This one follows the trend of like Slavic Eastern European vibes, and this one is like a supernatural horror type story. So, any ideas? Okay, I have already 2 votes for Neverland, so I think I will go with that one. Also, it should give me like a pretty decent chunk of reading. So what do you say? Let's go for a very long 30-minute sprint and then do a wrap up before finishing up the live stream. So yeah, let's do that. Let's do a prediction. If I'm going to pick a manga, I might as well predict a larger number. And let's start reading. All right. We have managed our last sprint. So, how did everyone do? How well did you do with predicting your reading? I predicted that I was going to read 50 pages and I read 94. So that was really good. I made it to the halfway point, which is really good. This volume is actually so far interesting, really interesting. Like I've been having a little bit of trouble with the few volumes like prior to this, but this one is a marked improvement on those. So that's great, actually. Yeah, Nordic noir is a very distinct like subgenre of mystery thriller because I feel like it has to do with the way police officers work in the Nordic, and also how the countries are like situated. There is a lot of like it's a cultural thing, I think. That's why I think like Nordic noir has become its own thing. Okay, you are really good at predicting your own pace. That is really good. Okay, Rachel, what is Snail on the Slope about? Like, who is it by? What's it translated from? I want to know. Whew. Like you by the way, you'd think that hosting sprints is like super easy, but actually it's like an involved process. I mean, it's fun, but it's an involved process. I will definitely let me know on Twitter or now in the chat. Like, do you want to go with a similar setup for next Saturday, or do you want shorter sprints, or do you want more of the like continuous like long sprints? Do you want more chatty time? Yeah. Strugatsky's. I wonder, have you read We by Yevgeny Zamyatin? Because I think that's more of an like actual like dystopian, but it's like one of the very oldest science fiction dystopias. I think it was written in the 20s. Like it was written during the Lenin administration, and Yevgeny Zamyatin actually had to like escape the Soviet Union because, you know. Yay! Hope to have you here next Saturday as well. I mean, if you want to read We, I could buddy read it with you because I've only read I started the English translation, but then I put it down because I have read the Finnish translation of it. But I want to read the English translation because the Finnish translation of We is translated from English, which was translated from Russian. But the English translation that I have is translated straight from Russian. So yeah, if you want to buddy read it, then hit me up. Yay! Okay, I will not break the wheel then. I will do the same format next week. Okay, it is almost time to finish up. Any final thoughts? Any have you enjoyed what you've been reading today? Like, is the book grabbing you? I will say that these two were very similar in terms of vibe, like reality bending, reality altering, dark, mysterious, space time, timey-wimey sort of thing. Like, I never would have imagined that The Promised Neverland would go this route, and I sort of expected nothing less from the Dyachenkos. So, yeah, it's been really interesting. I might actually finish this one and continue with this one later on. So, yeah, super fun. Yay, thank you for coming to read with me and to hang out. It was fun. Yeah, I feel like for me personally, I have a much harder time with like Twitter sprints because I don't like to be on Twitter that much. Like, it's much better for like announcements. But like, I feel like this kind of like relaxed, chatty sprint time, like where you actually get to hang out, it's like it's better, I think. Yes, finish that book. You can do it. I believe in you. Okay, so I will see you next week on Saturday at the same time, 7 p.m. Eastern European time, and I will try to host again for a couple hours, 2 hours, and yeah, I will also be doing a survey for like sort of an anonymous Google form survey for like to get some statistics from this round of Translateathon. So look out for that. I will put it in the live show description next week. But yeah, glad to have you all with me, and I will see you next week. And remember, there's still one whole week of reading time for Translateathon, so keep reading all those translated books. Okay, bye bye.